Hi and welcome, my name is Mimiko and it's time for another draft league. This time, me and my team, the Midnight Nightmares, are joining the 10th season of PWC, also known as the Pokemon World Circuit, in the second division, the Blackthorn division. Before we start with the draft analysis, I wanted to give a big thank you for the warm welcome into the league. Sadly, the coach review couldn't be uploaded due to some copyright problems, but you should still check out the YouTube channel of the PWC, where you can find content to all the draft season and of course new content from this season. The channel is linked down below as well as other coaches. Now that all has been said, let's get started. Every division is filled with 16 coaches and all of them get 115 points to draft exactly 11 unique Pokemon of a pool of Pokemon going from 1 to 18 points. The draft is done in a snake order, meaning in round 1, number 1 gets a pick first and number 16 picks last, and in round 2 it's flipped. My draft placement ended up being 6, which normally would be an alright spot to be in, but in this league and for me personally, one of the worst spots to possibly get. The reason for this is the gimmick of this league, the signature. But how does it work? Every signature will be drafted in round 1 and will have to cost 8 points or less. This mon will have to be brought to every single battle and is the only Pokemon on your team that can Terra and into any type it wants to. With how this works, you either want to have an early placement in round 1 to get a really good signature or a late placement to get dips on higher tier mons. There are a lot of good signatures like Yanmega, Diancie or the Dunsparce, but I somehow had my eyes on 2 other mons that 100% wouldn't be sniped, hence I would have liked a late placement more. The 2 mons I had my eyes on were Scarvalier and Regirock, and slightly edging it out was a Scarvalier. With its bug steel typing, good defensive stats, the ability Shell Armor, which lets a Scarvalier not get hit by crits, and the ability to Terra made it a really good wall for any matchup that might come up in the future. To add to it, it has a massive 135 attack stat and a good move pool to take advantage of it with moves like Iron Head, X-Scissor, Close Combat, Drill Run, Poison Jab, Knock Off and Razor Shell. It even has good setup and support moves with Sword Stance, Iron Defense, Encore and Taunt. But it has big downsides with having a base speed stats of 20 and being 4 times weak to fire, which I could get rid of with Terra, but in case I need to Terra into a type that is weak to fire, I need something to take these hits. With this on my mind, I decided on Tapu Fini. It has a really great typing in Water Fairy and its good around stats make it a solid wall, great support or even a solid damage dealer. It has a really good move pool with great stabs, good coverage, a ton of support moves and solid setup options. Its ability Misty Surge let it set up a terrain or switch in which halves the damage of dragon type attacks and make mons which touch the ground be immune to status effects. I didn't realize it at the moment, but the ability will become a very important thing for another Pokemon. Next up I wanted a special attacking breaker and Thunderous Fury fitted in really well into this role. It has a massive 145 special attack stat with 101 speed stat, solid bulk and with its ability Volt Absorb it is immune to electric type attacks and heals himself if he gets hit by one. While its special attack stat is its highlight, I can run it even physically because of its 105 attack stat and massive coverage in both special and physical attacks and solid setup moves on both sides. It can even run a bulky support moveset because of support moves like Taunt and Defog and spread starters with T-Wave and Toxic. Now that I had a solid core, I wanted to pick up a fast sweeper and I was kinda shocked that in round 4 Sneasler was still available. Sneasler is exactly what I needed with its 130 and 120 speed stat and access to either Unburden, which doubles its speed if it loses an item, or Poison Touch, which has a 30% chance to poison on contact, which works really well with U-turn. It has really good stab options with Close Combat and Dire Claw, which has a 50% chance to cause sleep, poison or paralysis on its target. Its coverage and setup moves are good and even has access to Fake Out. Sadly, Misty Surge kinda works against all the status it can cause, but it helps Sneasler even more because it can activate Unburden when it uses or consumes an item like Misty Seed, which boosts special defense on misty terrain. With Sneasler I picked up all my 14 points and higher picks, so next up I wanted other high valued mons, but I couldn't decide on which. It got quite late and I still needed to leave some picks with how fast the draft has been going at the moment. So I left some lower points mons, which are quite useful and went to bed. It's not like it's going to bite me in the butt or something. Well, the first one of the 2 is Hisui Quillfish, and for a lower point pick it can get quite annoying. It has access to spikes and toxic spikes to set up hazards, substitute and sword stance to set up, and really nice support moves. With Pain Split it can even heal itself up and tank some hits with its stats and Evilite and make physical hits even weaker with Intimidate, or poison the other mons with Poison Point or Barb Barrage, which has a 50% chance to poison and doubles in power if the opponent is poisoned. The other mon is Alone Mamola and his job is simple: keep the team alive. Or so it was if I hadn't agreed to a late swap with another coach. So my Alone Mamola got swapped for an Umbreon. Umbreon has still the same job as Aloe, but can't do it as usefully as Aloe because it's lacking another slow pivot move like Flip Turn and the ability Regenerator. On the other hand, it's way more bulky, has access to Synchronize and Heal Bell in case Stardust comes through Misty Terrain, has access to Status itself, Screens, Sucker Punch for priority and Moonlight to keep itself healthy. Even though its offensive stats are lacking, it can still pack a punch with Foul Play, its coverage, or even set up and do a surprise sweep. These two are nice picks, but it still was a massive mistake to pick them now because I got sniped on the higher tier mons. But it wasn't once or twice, no. 3 times overnight, and with an hour left to pick in the morning, I decided to pick up Mesprit as my as-of stand-in, which I later decided was a mistake and wanted to draft another mon. I had 2 mons in my mind, Rotom Heat and Volcanion, and with 3 picks remaining in the draft in the morning, I felt safe to get one of those. 10 minutes later, draft ends and Rotom Heat gets sniped. But I still managed to get Volcanion, which wasn't ideal because it was my 3rd water type, but I just really wanted to use it and it worked out really well with the Aloe trait. Volcanion has a really nice typing in Fire Water with the ability Water Absorb. It is pretty bulky, packs a punch on the physical and special side, and isn't too slow with its 70 base speed. Its offensive move pool is massive and well rounded, and additionally it has access to solid support moves. As of now, this team was really weak to electric and ground, and so I chose the little brother of a snipe pick, Dipplin. Even though it does not have access to Regenerator like Hydrapple, it still has Recover and access to Evilite and Sticky Hold, which lets it not lose an item due to something like Knockoff, and let it be really bulky throughout the whole battle and let it do steady damage with its great step options. With Dipplin I covered most of my weaknesses, so it was time to pick up some damage. Originally I had Gardevoir, which sadly became the victim of the Aloe and Umbreon swap because I still needed an extra point for it and I realized that fairy type attacks aren't boosted in Misty Terrain. I really don't know why I thought that. With limited time and budget I took the risk and picked up Hooper. I picked it up because it has similar stats to Gardevoir, just way higher, and like all the other mons can be run physically or special. The biggest trade-off is its kinda limited move pool and 4 times weaknesses to Ghost and Dark because of its Psychic Ghost typing. As my next pick, I simply wanted to get someone that could set up Stealth Rocks and use Rapid Spin, so I picked up the best lower cost mon for it, Donphan. It has Hazard Control, sturdy to always live a one-hit KO, has a nice move pool of offensive and defensive moves, and has the ability to destroy my own terrain with Ice Spinner in case I need to get rid of it. Somehow, before I traded Volcanion, I managed to not draft a single fire type again, and kinda overlooked my speed tiers. To balance it out, I picked up Typhlosion. It's a fast fire type that can nuke opponents away with full health, Choice Scarf or Specs eruptions. I hope that I will be able to do it at least once. And that's my team for the PVC. I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope to see you next time. See you!